Hello, my dear future doctors. This is Biswajit, your zoology mentor. So, on your heavy demand, I am here with another chapter from class 12 zoology, that is human health and disease. Okay, so from this chapter, basically, I'll be emphasizing on few particular topics like immunity, like the topics of HIV/AIDS, cancer, and the drug addiction part. Okay, so the topics we are going to cover from this chapter, that is common diseases, immunity, AIDS, cancer, and drugs and alcohol abuse. Right. So let's start. So first we will try to learn that what is health and what is disease and what is disease free. Okay, so according to WHO, according to World Health Organization, the definition of health is like that: health is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. A state of complete physical, mental and social well-being. It's not about that if a person is physically fit or apparently you are feeling that you are disease free, that doesn't mean that you are a healthy person. Okay, so it is affected by genetic disorders, infections and change in lifestyle. Okay, so from health to a diseased condition. Okay, so these are the three major factors which can affect health of a person. First factor given as per NCERT, that is genetic disorder or congenital diseases. Okay, defect in DNA and infection, that is when we are affected by various pathogenic agents like bacteria, virus, fungi. Okay, so that kind of attack will be calling them infections. And change in lifestyle, that means that the kind of or the quality of water, food you are taking in your daily life. Here we will be incorporating exercise and your habits, that we will be observing that few people, they are smoking, they are consuming alcohol. So those practices are not at all good for our health, right? So everything, the health depends upon your lifestyle. Okay, now it say that mind influences immune system. Mind influences immune system through neural and endocrine system. So basically it said that when you are taking too much tension or you are in too much stress or depression, automatically it will affect your health. So why it's so? See, if you are taking too much stress, so that means that is giving signal to your neural system. Now your neural system will give signal, or neural system has control over your endocrine system. And your endocrine system will give response against this stress. How? Endocrine system will release stress hormone like cortisol. Okay, and this cortisol will suppress your immunity. Cortisol will act as immunosuppressor, and when your immunity is suppressed by overproduction of cortisol hormone, automatically your health will deteriorate. That's why, okay, it said that negative thoughts, stress or tension kind of condition will lead us to immunity failure, ultimately disease. Okay, now let's talk about health versus disease. So already we have learned the definition of health, which is three components: physical fitness, mental fitness, and social fitness or social well-being. Now what do you mean by disease? See, the word disease, it comes from combining two words, dis and is. So dis means opposite and is means comfort. So basically this is kind of discomfort when one or more organs or system, listen, when one or more organs or system are not performing accordingly, that will lead to dysfunctioning of that particular system, particular organ or particular physiological activity inside our body, and that condition will be calling it disease, because that is causing discomfort towards our life, right? Now this disease can be infectious disease, the disease can be infectious one, or disease can be non-infectious or non-communicable one. So let's make a table that what kind of diseases are there. So majorly we can divide the types of disease into two types: congenital disease and acquired disease. Congenital disease and acquired disease. Congenital disease, again, it can be one gene defect. Congenital disease, it can be defect in chromosome, or chromosomal aberration. So if you are suffering from congenital disease, actually you got this disease by birth, from the time of your birth. Now if you are suffering from acquired disease, acquired means it was that particular disease was not present into your body since your birth, but due to any infection or malnutrition or any other reason, you are suffering, you got this disease in latter span of your life. So that is called acquired disease. Okay, now this acquired disease can be of two types. It can be infectious, it can be non-infectious. Okay, now let's come to this congenital disease part. When we are talking about one gene defect, there is problem in a particular gene or allelic configuration. So such examples are sickle cell anemia, color blindness, hemophilia, and if we talk about that chromosomal aberrations or defect in chromosomes, few conditions like Down syndrome, Klinefelter syndrome, Turner's syndrome, these are some conditions where chromosomes or number of chromosomes are affected. Like in case of Down syndrome, there will be trisomy in case of 21st pair of chromosome. For Klinefelter syndrome, there is extra number of X chromosome. Like the condition for Klinefelter syndrome is 44 autosome plus XXY. For Turner syndrome, the condition is like 44 plus X, one X chromosome is deleted here. So this kind of conditions are called chromosomal aberrations. Okay. Now if we are coming with acquired disease, infectious, they are also called as communicable diseases, because they are spread by means of or by modes of communication, like by air, by water, by food. Okay, so the infectious or communicable disease can be a bacterial disease, bacterial infection. They can be viral infection. They can be fungal infection. The diseases can be spread through protozoa. The diseases can be spread through helminths, means askelminths and platyhelminths, by worms, helminths. So these are pathogens which are responsible for infectious or numerous communicable diseases. Now, non-infectious diseases are also called non-communicable diseases. Now, non-communicable means these are not getting transmitted from one person to another person. So, if we talk about infectious disease, they are getting transmitted from one diseased person to another healthy person. So that's why we are calling it communicable or infectious diseases. The infections are spreading from person to person. Non-infectious, this can be cancer, non-infectious disease. Non-infectious disease can be allergies. Non-infectious diseases can be autoimmune diseases. Non-infectious diseases can be diseases due to malnutrition, deficiency diseases. Malnutrition means deficiencies of nutrients. Okay. Organ failures. Also comes under non-infectious diseases, right? Okay. Now, when we are discussing about health and disease, we need to learn some terminologies related to that. Okay. So those terms are like sign, symptoms, disease, disorders, and syndrome. So what do you mean by this kind of terms? Often we use them interchangeably. Like, what is the difference between sign and symptoms? See, sign means the changes in the body of patient which is observed by the doctor. Changes observed by doctor, we call them sign. And symptom means changes felt by the patient. So that is the difference. Basically, this is the angle of view. What doctor is observing, there is sign, and what patient is feeling, that is symptoms. Okay. Now, what is difference between disease? What is difference between disease, disorder, and syndrome? So, disease, there should be specific symptoms or signs against a particular discomfort condition. So that is called disease. Like if you are suffering from hepatitis, so hepatitis, there is a disease. So what will be symptoms? Jaundice, the yellowish skin, yellowish eye. Okay. There is a hepatitis is a disease, and the symptoms will be exhibited or exhibited by the patient body, that is jaundice, right? Now if we talk about a particular disorder, now how disorders are different from diseases. Now disorder means, obviously you can observe certain symptoms or sign, but you are not quite sure about the disease, right? So that kind of condition, that is called disorder, when you are not sure about the root cause, when the root cause of that particular abnormalities inside the body is not confirmed yet. So that conditions are called disorders. And syndromes, they're the group of symptoms, are called syndrome. Like if a person is affected by HIV, human immunodeficiency virus, so the condition we call AIDS, acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It's not a disease, it's a syndrome. That means when your immune system is attacked by HIV virus, then many opportunistic pathogen will attack or reattack again, and your body will like exhibit different types of symptoms of different diseases. So that's why this combination of symptoms or groups of symptoms, we are calling it syndrome. So is it clear? Disease, disorder, and symptoms. When abnormalities, the reasons are unknown or undefined, then that conditions or those conditions are called disorder. When there are defined symptoms, that condition is called disease. When there are group of symptoms, that condition we call it syndrome. Okay. Now let's talk about some historical aspect of disease. Okay. So a hypothesis that is called good humor hypothesis we'll be discussing now. Who had given this hypothesis? Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, and also this hypothesis was supported, or similar kind of observation was given by Indian Ayurveda system. Okay, so when we are talking about this good humor hypothesis, basically that is a reflective thought. Reflective thought means someone told you a story that he or she had observed a ghost, right? When he was coming back at night to his home, he observed a ghost. So he told that, described that story to you. It was his belief that whatever he had observed, that was a ghost. Now you haven't questioned that was it really a ghost or was that a shadow or something like. So you believed that yes, your friend has observed a ghost, and you told that same story to your brother. Your brother also believed in you, in your story. Okay, so in this manner, the story of ghost that spread into your apartment or into your village or into your city. So everybody started believing that yes, that particular lane, there is a haunted lane. Obviously, if you are coming after 8 o'clock, after 9 o'clock, or after 10 o'clock, you may observe a ghost. So everybody started avoiding that lane. So basically, that kind of observation or that kind of thought, we call it reflective thought. Whatever I am telling you, you are believing and you are spreading further, right? So similarly, the Hippocrates, this father of modern medicine, and Indian Ayurveda acharyas, they observed something. They had their own hypothesis. Remember, there is not a theory, not law. There is hypothesis. They had their own hypothesis, and they spread throughout the medicine community. So that's why we are calling this good humor hypothesis. So them, according to this good humor hypothesis, the humor, they had described about 4 humors. What are those? One is blood, one is black bile, one is yellow bile, and one is phlegm. Okay. So blood means that is our body fluid, main body fluid. Black bile and yellow bile, these are kind of like, there is no practical existence of this particular fluids inside our body. Hypothetical, we nowadays we call them, these are hypothetical fluid. And phlegm means normal body fluids like saliva. The phlegm can be saliva. Okay, it can be our lymph, like the body fluids other than blood and bile. Okay, so they used to believe that health is a state of body, mind. There should be balance in between body and mind, as well as how it can be balanced by balancing these humors. There should be proper balance in between blood, black bile, yellow bile, and phlegm. So if these 4 humor means body fluid. If these 4 kind of body fluids are in a balanced mode into your body, then you are healthy. If any one of these humors are present in higher amount or lower amount in your body, then it must be indication of a particular disease. So that is good humor hypothesis, was given by Hippocrates and Indian Ayurveda. So what just now I said, that is there is health is used to believe a state of body and mind with the balance of these 4 humors. Okay. So according to this theory, a person with black bile, now you may ask a question that, sir, how we can observe this black bile? You said that this is a hypothetical or like imaginary fluid inside our body. So black bile means if someone is vomiting or if someone is passing the stool. So if the color of stool is blackish or if the color of vomiting is blackish, then they used to believe that that person is having black bile, and that is somehow related to a cold or dry cough or fever condition. So according to this theory, the person with black bile believed to be hot personality. Here hot personality means he or she may be suffering from fever. Now again, fever is not a disease, it's a symptom of some other disease, right? So if inside your body temperature is higher, if you are feeling fever, So that means you have black bile inside your body. Okay. But later on, with the discovery of blood circulation, William Harvey, the father of blood circulation, has disapproved or disproved these hypotheses, or good humor hypothesis was disproved by William Harvey on discovery or upon discovery of blood circulation. Now, how he disproved the good humor hypothesis? He used thermometers to take or to measure the body temperature of different person. Okay, according to this Ayurveda and these Greek philosophers, like if a person is having black bile, if a person is having yellow bile, so according to them, he had chosen different patients, and he had taken their body temperature measurement by using thermometers, and he demonstrated normal temperature in all person, or even the person with black bile. Okay, so if a person is vomiting or defecating stool of black color, then you can assume that person is having black bile inside the body. And then William Harvey had taken the body temperature, and he found that body temperature is more or less similar in all person, that is nearby 37 °C. So he disproved the previous theory of good humor hypothesis. Okay. Now let's talk about some common diseases. So disease causing organisms are called pathogens. Yes. Now how we got this term pathogen? See, pathos means pain and gen means agents. So if those infectious agents are attacking your body either from outside or inside, then you will suffer from a disease, and that will cause pain into your life. That's why we are calling them pain causing agents or pathogens. Yes. Now it said that most parasites are pathogens. Okay. Now what do you mean by parasites? Parasite, okay, they're certain kind of organisms, they will attack other organism, we call them host. So parasite, they will attack host, okay, and what they're expecting from the host, they will take nutrition from the host body, they will take shelter from the host body. So it's a gain for this parasite. Parasite is gaining nutrition and shelter from the host, right? But instead it's harming the host, so it's a loss for the host. So parasite will go into positive direction and host will go into negative direction. So that is called host parasitic interaction. Okay. Now these parasites, they may attack you from outside. So we call these as ectoparasite. If the parasite is entering into your body, then that parasite we will be calling them endoparasite. So the parasites can be either ectoparasitic in nature or endoparasitic in nature. If you ask me example for ectoparasites, mosquitoes, leech, even the bed bugs, they are examples of ectoparasites. If you ask me, sir, give some examples of endoparasites, yes, plasmodium, which is causing malaria into our body by attacking our liver and RBC. So that is a good example of endoparasite. right? So parasites can be ectoparasites or endoparasites. If it's attacking from outside, then that is called ectoparasite. If they're attacking from inside, then that is called endoparasites. And most of the parasites are pathogens. Not all, but most of the parasites are pathogen. They will cause some disease into that host body, right? Okay. So pathogens have to adapt to live within the host. This is again a very important thing. Very much important. Okay. If a parasite is entering into the host body, then obviously host will not simply welcome, yes, come and reside into our body, take nutrition, and host is not welcoming, right? Host has also its own immune system to fight against all the pathogens or infections, right? So those immune cells will hunt upon those parasitic uh, organisms or upon those pathogens. So they will try to survive under an adverse condition inside the host's body. That's why they are very good at adaptation or acclimatization when they're entering into the host body. So some examples I am telling, like if a particular pathogen is entering through the digestive system, if enters through digestive system or alimentary canal, then there are certain barriers which will try to kill that parasite or pathogen, like HCl, like alkaline juices or enzymatic activities of our digestive system. So they need to adapt, that they need some shield against those HCl secretion into our stomach, or the alkaline juice secretion inside our intestine, or against those digestive enzymes. Otherwise, if you enter into alimentary canal, the condition of alimentary canal, the environment inside the alimentary canal gonna kill you or digest you like the food material. So parasites which are entering through digestive system, their body is protected or covered by protective covering of cuticle. Here I am talking about the internal parasites or intestinal parasites like Ascaris, Tinea. Okay, so their body is covered by tegumen. Their body is covered by hard cuticle. This will give them a resistance against the digestive juices. Okay, few other methodology how they are surviving inside the host body. Most of the parasites or endoparasites specifically, they will like exhibit multiple larval stage, exhibits multiple larval stages. Okay, in order to skip the attack which they are getting from the host immune system, right? So they will change their morphological, external morphology or internal morphology. So they will go through different larval stages so that the immune cells of the host, they easily cannot identify them. Okay. Even another methodology of numerous parasites, they will not choose only a single host, they will choose more than one hosts. Okay, so that is also a strategy to skip or escape. There is also a strategy to escape from host immune system, right? To escape from hosts immunity, few will attack more than one hosts. So if there is a particular parasite or pathogen with one host, we call it monogenetic parasite or monogenetic pathogen. If a parasite or pathogen has two hosts, we call it digenetic. Digenetic. So remember these terminologies: monogenetic parasite, digenetic parasite. If a parasite is attacking only one host, that is monogenetic. If a parasite is attacking two different hosts to escape the immune system of one of them, then that is called digenetic host. Okay. So if you talk about this digenetic, digenetic parasite, not host, digenetic parasite, they have one primary host and they have one secondary host. Now, inside the body of the primary host, the parasite will exhibit their sexual mode of reproduction, and inside the body of secondary host, the parasite will exhibit their asexual or asexual mode of reproduction. Okay, and these are the pathogens. We interact with them. They are bacteria. They can be bacteria. So we will be talking about few bacterial diseases like typhoid, like pneumonia. We interact with some viruses, though most of the microbes are non-infectious to us, but there are n number of microbes which are attacking us. So we'll talk about some viral diseases, we'll talk about HIV AIDS, we'll talk about rhinitis or common cold, right? We'll talk about some fungal infection or fungal diseases like ringworms. We'll talk about some protozoan diseases. We'll talk about amoebiasis. We'll talk about malaria, and ultimately we'll talk about some helminth diseases as well, like ascariasis or elephantiasis. Okay, so we'll start with typhoid. See, typhoid is also called as enteric fever. Because the typhoid causing pathogen, that is Salmonella typhi, that is particularly a gram negative bacteria. The primary site of the attack will be our enteron or gut, right, our alimentary canal, that will attack our enteron, gut or alimentary canal. That's why another name of typhoid fever is enteric fever, right? Mode of transmission, how we get this infection of Salmonella? It enters into the small intestine. This is the primary site of attack, through food and water. So basically it's a food or waterborne, and then it enters into the or eat upon the tissue of our intestine and migrates to other organs via blood, and the other organs, like they will migrate to spleen and liver like organs, right? Now when we are infected, what will be the symptoms of this particular disease? Yes, so there will be sustained high fever, sustained means prolonged duration, fever with prolonged duration with 39 degree to 40 degree Celsius. Okay, there will be headache, weakness, because they are attacking our alimentary canal. There will be no proper digestion and absorption is taking place. There will be stomach pain, constipation, problem in defecation, or problem in egestion or passing the fecal matter, that is called constipation, and there will be obviously loss of appetite. Okay, so these are the normal symptoms. Now in case of some severe case, the symptoms will be intestinal perforation and even death. Okay, that is the last stage if the patient is not taking proper treatment or taking proper antibiotics against salmonella, right? So huge damage will be there into the inside the small intestine, inside the stomach, or even the large intestine. So that is called intestinal perforation. The wall of intestine will become leaky. The wall of intestine will become leaky, and there will be no digestion. See, small intestine, this is the site of complete digestion of food, and obviously the site of absorption of digested food materials, right? So that is called intestinal perforation. Due to the intestinal perforation, digestion and absorption is not taking place, and gradually due to the loss of appetite, the patient may die. Okay, now how we can confirm this disease inside the body? You have to go for Widal test, okay, by the name of the scientist. Now what they are searching while they are doing Widal test? Basically they are searching for antigens. Typhoid, this Salmonella typhi, when enters, it will produce some toxins, we call them antigens. So antigens are like O antigen, H antigen, and paratyphoid antigen type A and antigen type B. So this kind of antigens are detected in our body with the help of this Widal test. And also there is a availability of a vaccine that is called TAB vaccine. This is a vaccine available for typhoid, that is TAB, typhoid, paratyphoid A, paratyphoid B vaccine, TAB vaccine. Okay. Now a classical case of medical history is given here. That is the history of Mary Malone, or typhoid Mary. So basically she was a professional cook. She was a typhoid carrier. Means sometime it happens, if disease or a particular pathogen is manifested into your body, the patient can become asymptomatic. The patient remains sometime asymptomatic because the opportunistic or the pathogen is utilizing that particular host as a reservoir. Okay, so she was a typhoid carrier. She was a symptomatic patient who spread the typhoid for several years through the food she prepared. Okay, and obviously she used to cook the food in unhygienic manner. After defecation, maybe she was not cleaning her hand in a proper manner. So whatever food she used to cook, she used to transfer salmonella bacteria into that. Okay, and the consumer of that food, obviously they will get this particular bacteria, salmonella typhi, and they will get the disease typhoid. So this is a classical case of medical history. Remember this name of that particular like case study. If you're talking about, there is typhoid Mary, and name of that cook was Mary Malone. Okay, now another bacterial disease, there is pneumonia. There is also a bacterial disease. Pathogens, the bacteria. Here you need to remember that there are two bacteria which are responsible for pneumonia. One is Streptococcus pneumoniae This is a gram negative bacteria, and Haemophilus influenzae, that is a gram positive bacteria. Okay, a little bit change is there. I'm extremely sorry. Streptococcus, that is a gram positive bacteria, and Haemophilus, that is a gram negative bacteria. Okay. Now, the mode of infection, not mode of transmission. Okay, if you are getting the these bacteria, Streptococcus or Haemophilus, inside your respiratory passage, they will enter into your body through respiratory passage. It infects lung alveoli. The alveoli gets filled with fluid leading to respiratory problems. When they are infecting alveoli, basically they are infecting the alveolar cells called pneumocytes. And when this inner wall of alveoli are affected, it will release fluid discharge, and this fluid will start accumulating inside the alveoli. That will cause the problem. Okay, that will become a hindrance or obstacle for the gaseous exchange. Okay, now let's talk about the mode of transmission of the particular disease. So basically, it's an airborne disease. Inhaling the droplets or aerosols, like if you are sneezing, the droplets are floating into the air in the form of aerosols released by an infected person during the time of the coughing or sneezing, and obviously sharing glasses and utensils with an infected person. So this disease can be also spread by fomites. So basically, this is airborne disease, also fomite-borne disease. Fomite means the goods which are used by infected person. Okay. Now, what are the symptoms when your alveoli are choked? Then obviously there will be respiratory problems, fever. Whenever there is infection into our body will give response against that, and our hypothalamus will increase the body temperature in order to kill those pathogenic bacteria, right? That's why whenever we are infected, when we are suffering from any kind of infection, the first symptom will be that will be feeling the raised body temperature, that is called fever. Okay, chills, cough, headache, or in severe cases, lips and fingernails, they are turning gray or bluish in color. Now, why it's so? Is because this alveolar surface, they have become inefficient to exchange gases. Then what will happen? They will not supply adequate amount of oxygen to body tissue, and ultimately your body or tissues are suffering from hypoxia. Hypoxia means less supply or very low partial pressure of oxygen into our body, into our organs, into our tissue. That condition is called hypoxia, and for a prolonged duration, if you are suffering from hypoxia, gradually there will be more volume of or more amount of or less amount of oxyhemoglobin in your body, and more amount of carbaminohemoglobin and carboxyhemoglobin will produce inside your body, and ultimately that will cause bluish or grayish lips or fingers. Okay. Now few more bacterial diseases. These are also bacterial diseases. Okay, the first disease here, that is dysentery. This bacterial dysentery caused by Shigella bacteria, a bacteria called Shigella. Also there are certain other bacteria, few strains of E. coli, Escherichia coli also can cause dysentery, and few strains of Salmonella species also can be the causative pathogen for dysentery. There is another dysentery we will be studying, that is amoebic dysentery, that is basically due to the pathogen called Entamoeba histolytica. This particular dysentery is due to the infection of Shigella, E. coli or Salmonella. So basically this is a bacterial dysentery. Okay. Another disease we are talking about, that is plague, and the pathogen is Yersinia pestis. The name of the bacteria is Yersinia pestis, and the mechanical vector for the disease plague is a rat flea called Xenophila. Okay, and the rats will act as a reservoir of this particular bacteria called Yersinia pestis. So if there is an infected rat, this Xenophila, the rat flea, will bite that rat. Now when it's sucking the blood from the rat, the Yersinia bacteria will enter into the flea's body. Now that flea is also infected. Now if this flea will bite a human, a healthy human, then during the biting it will pass or it will transmit the Yersinia bacteria from the insect's gut into the human bloodstream, and we will get the disease called plague. Okay. The disease called plague is also named as Black Death. Okay. Another bacterial disease, diphtheria, and the causative agent or pathogen is Corynebacterium diphtheria. Okay. Now we'll talk about some viral disease. Okay. Common cold, it's a viral disease. Pathogen, the virus is called rhinovirus, and as because it's a rhinovirus infection, and it will infect our upper respiratory passage, basically the nose, the epithelial tissue of nose and our throat region. So the disease is also called as rhinitis, inflammation of nose and upper respiratory tract, that is called rhinitis. If the ending, the name of a disease ending with itis, that means inflammation of that particular zone. Okay. So it infects nose and respiratory passage but not lungs. So remember, the rhinitis means infection or inflammation of upper respiratory passage, including nose. Okay. Now we'll talk about mode of transmission. Again, this is airborne. This is airborne. Inhaling droplets resulting from cough or sneeze of infected person, even through contaminated objects like pens, books, cups, doorknobs, computer accessories. So it can be airborne as well as it can be fomite-borne. The symptoms of this particular disease, common cold, nasal congestion when your nasal epithelium that is infected, that will discharge large amount of mucus to trap those pathogens. So there will be nasal congestion and excessive nasal discharge of mucus will be there. Mild fever can be observed, headache, sore throat, cough, is because it has infected the upper respiratory passage, it has infected the larynx region or pharynx region, hoarseness in voice, okay, difficulties in speaking will be there, tiredness. So now what is the remedy of this particular viral disease? So if you are going to a doctor, visiting a doctor, the doctor will prescribe you some antibiotics called azithromycin or something, or that group of drugs, right? But do we know that antibiotics, remember this, antibiotics are for bacterial disease, but this common cold, that is a viral infection. So why doctor is prescribing us those azithromycin or amoxicillin, right? Because they cannot kill virus, they can kill some bacteria. So when your immunity is becoming weaker, so some opportunistic bacteria may attack you. So in order to stop the attack, okay, to prevent you from the attack of bacteria, doctor is, as a precaution, doctor is giving you doses of antibiotics. Okay, now generally we say that if you are suffering from common cold or rhinitis, if you are taking medicine, it will take 7 days. If you are not taking medicine, it will take 1 week. That means automatically it will get cured within 3 to 7 days. Okay. Now few more bacterial infection newly incorporated into our syllabus. Dengue and chikungunya, these are also, sorry, not bacterial, these are also viral infections. Okay. Now for both the disease, dengue and chikungunya, these are vector borne disease. Now what is the difference between carrier and vector? Vector is such animal which are carrying that pathogen and they are also infected by that particular pathogen. So those carriers are called vectors. Now sometimes few animals, they are only carrying that pathogen but they are not infected by itself. So we won't be calling them as vector. So here Aedes aegypti mosquito, also they are known as tiger mosquito. Tiger mosquito, because they have white and black stripes on their body, that's why we call them tiger mosquito. So Aedes aegypti, specifically the female, see, female mosquitoes bites us, it's never the male mosquitoes, they don't need our blood, it's female mosquito, they will feed upon mammals blood because of the high temperature, the warmth, and the presence of nutrition into our blood plasma and calcium, right? So this warmth of mammalian blood and nutrient and minerals like calcium will help the female mosquitoes to ripen their ovaries. So it will help them during the time of their breeding, right? Help them maturation of their gonads. So Aedes aegypti mosquito, when bites us, we may get the disease or viruses because they are carrying, if they are carrying the viruses of dengue and chikungunya. Now first we will talk about the viral disease called dengue. The pathogen is called den virus. They belong to the family flavivirus. So dengue virus are basically flavivirus. Symptoms, if you are infected, hemorrhagic fever, internal damage of organs will be there, that's why fever, high fever with internal hemorrhage, internal damage, severe headache, muscle and joint pain. So that's why sometimes we call this disease, this dengue, as break bone disease. This dengue is also called as break bone disease. because there is severe muscle and joint pain, rash on body and retroorbital pain, and there can be plasma leakage. Sometimes a severe condition of dengue can lead to death even. Okay. Now another viral infection, chikungunya. It's not chikungunya, it's chikungunya, caused by alpha virus, and the symptoms are more or less similar to that dengue but less severe. Joint pains will be there, severe, high fever will be there, rash will be there, muscle pain and headache will be there, but chances of death are minimal, right? Now you can take some antiviral drugs against them for dengue and chikungunya, but the one and only effective remedy is to take more and more ORS, oral rehydrating solutions. If you are suffering from diseases, take like nutritive food. That should not be, you should avoid spicy and oily food if you are a patient of dengue and chikungunya, and gradually when your immune system is getting stronger, your immune system can eradicate these viruses from your body. Okay. Now we are jumping to the next topic, that is malaria, that is a protozoan disease. So the pathogen for the malaria is a protozoa called a plasmodium. So there are many species of plasmodiums are there. Plasmodium vivax, this is the most common one. Plasmodium malariae, Plasmodium falciparum. There is another species also observed, Plasmodium ovale. Okay. So these are some species of Plasmodium. Now, among them, the common one is Plasmodium vivax. Here we will be talking about the life cycle of Plasmodium vivax into the body of mosquito, female Anopheles mosquito and human. Plasmodium falciparum. Everybody is a gangster. Vivax, malarian, ovale, but Plasmodium falciparum is a monster. Okay. If you are suffering or if you are attacked by Plasmodium falciparum, it will cause malignant malaria. Even that can cause death. That can be fatal, right? Okay. That's why it's written there. Most serious or malignant malaria is caused by Plasmodium falciparum. See, malaria are of two types, benign and malignant. Benign means good, malignant means bad, or benign means less effective, malignant means dangerous. Okay, so that's why the malaria caused by Plasmodium falciparum, they are dangerous, they can be fatal or they can cause death, so we call it malignant malaria. Rest malaria by vivax, malaria and ovale, we call them benign malaria. Okay. So when I'm talking about the protozoa called Plasmodium, basically it's a digenetic parasite. It will attack two different hosts. So the primary host is mosquito, and the secondary host is human. Meaning mosquito, it will complete the sexual mode of reproduction. In human body, it will complete asexual mode of reproduction. Yes. Okay. Now, when you talk about this particular disease, malaria will be describing the benign tertian malaria. Now, what do you mean by benign tertian? It's a benign malaria, means mild malaria, and there will be recurring high fever in every 3 to 4 days within 48 to 72 hours. That's why we are calling it tertian malaria. It has 3 stages. First, chill stage, or you will be feeling cold. Second stage, hot stage, you will feel fever. And the third stage, that is, there will be fever with a span of 3 to 10 hours, and after that the fever will go on with sweating. A sweating phase will be there. So benign tertian malaria, it has 3 stages: cold stage before the fever, before arrival of the fever, then hot stage or fever stage or febrile stage, that is from 3 hours to 10 hours, and the fever will get recovered by excessive perspiration or sweating. Okay, now we'll talk about the mode of transmission of plasmodium. It will get transferred into human by the bite of female Anopheles mosquito. Remember, it's female Anopheles mosquito. They are acting as the vector of this particular disease. So they are acting as vector as well as the primary host of this particular disease. Okay, means they are also infected by plasmodium. And the symptoms of this particular disease of malaria, when they are attacking our RBC, toxin is released, and that is called hemozoin toxin, right? And this toxin is released into our bloodstream, and every time our hypothalamus keep checking our blood quality, and when it will find that there is some toxic material found in blood, it will increase the body temperature, it will cause chill and high fever in every 3 to 4 days. Okay, now we'll learn the life cycle of this plasmodium. Okay, now upon a mosquito bite, a female Anopheles mosquito bites or infected female Anopheles mosquito bite to a healthy human, and when the mosquitoes are biting, they will insert some saliva before sucking the blood with the help of their proboscis. So after they will suck the blood from our body, and before that, okay, they will spit or they will inject some saliva inside our body, right? And that time they are inserting the sporozoite stage of plasmodium. So this is the infective stage of plasmodium. What is the name? Sporozoite. So this stage of their life cycle is responsible for the infection. Now this sporozoite, they will escape inside the hepatocyte of liver. They will attack liver. The liver cells are called hepatocytes, Now, inside those hepatocytes, they will undergo multiple fission or asexual reproduction. We call these as schizogony. And it will produce merozoites. So, the merozoite will destroy these hepatocytes and they will come out. Now, again, I'm telling from the beginning, mosquito bite. Through the saliva, the sporozoite stage of Plasmodium will enter into our bloodstream, right? They will search for a particular organ where they will be finding their nutrients, that is glycogen. And yes, we know that liver cells or hepatocytes, they are rich in glycogen, so they will attack the liver. They will multiply there by the process of schizogony. Basically, there is a multiple fission. Asexual, obviously this is multiple fission. It is asexual mode of reproduction, and merozoites will come out of these hepatocytes. Now these merozoites, few merozoites will again attack the liver cells or hepatocytes, and few of them will attack RBC. Few of the merozoites, they will attack RBC. Now, what inside the RBC? This merozoite will start feeding inside the RBC. So, the stage inside the RBC, we call them trophozoite. Their gregarious, their feeding stage. Now, during the time of diagnosis or blood test, inside the under the microscope, you can identify these trophozoite stages. So, infecting stage sporozoite. Now, if you are opting for diagnosis, you have to find for trophozoite inside this RBC. They will feed upon the hemoglobin inside the RBC. Now, when they will burst this RBC and come out, they will burst this RBC and come out. Again, we will be calling them merozoites. They will infect some other RBC, right? And few of them will get converted into gamete forming cell or precursor cells which will form gamete in future. That is called gametocytes. Right. Now these gametocytes, they are not gametes, they are not sperm or ovum, they are precursor cell for gamete formation. So this is all about the life cycle or the asexual life cycle inside the human body. Starts from sporozoite into the bloodstream. From bloodstream, it will get inside the liver. Inside the liver cells, it will complete the multiple fission, it will form merozoites. Merozoites will come out of the liver cell. Few merozoites will re-attack the liver and few merozoites will attack RBC. Now inside the RBC, it will start feeding the hemoglobin, and when blasting the RBC, inside the RBC, basically they are again performing the asexual mode of reproduction or schizogony. Inside the RBC, they are multiplying their number, and when they are blasting and the merozoites are coming out, then they are releasing the toxin called hemozoin. And that is responsible for the fever. So every time they are blasting an RBC and coming out as merozoites, they are releasing hemozoin. Basically, that is the excreta of those merozoites, right? when they were feeding on hemoglobin inside the RBC, they are producing the excrete out the toxin that is called hemozoin toxin, and that is the responsible entity inside our blood that will be causing the chill and the fever. Okay, so this was all about the stage of Plasmodium into human. Now we'll talk about the stage of Plasmodium into mosquito. Now here, this infected human that is carrying sporozoites, merozoites or gametocytes. Now again there will be a mosquito bite here. Now this healthy mosquito, healthy female Anopheles mosquito will bite and suck blood from this man, and it will intake some gametocytes, sporozoites or merozoites. Now inside the gut of this particular mosquito, the alkaline pH will kill sporozoites and merozoites, but they cannot kill the gametocytes. Now these gametocytes will reach into the gut or midgut of mosquito. Now inside the midgut, the gametocytes will give rise sperms and ovum. Basically there will be two types of gametocytes. Few gametocytes they are large, few gametocytes they are small. So large gametocytes are called megagametocytes, smaller gametocytes are called microgametocytes. Okay, megagametocytes will give rise ovum, microgametocytes will give rise numerous spermatozoa. Now there will be fertilization inside the mosquito gut, and upon fertilization there will be formation of a movable zygote that we call eukinetes. Now this eukinetes will get inside the gut wall, that will penetrate the gut wall, and gradually when it has entered into the gut wall, it will become stable. We call it oocyst. Now when the cyst is formed, inside the cyst again there will be formation of sporogony. There will be formation of spore by the process of sporogony. There will be formation of spores, and these spores are called sporozoites. And the sporozoites, they will take shelter into the salivary gland of that female mosquito, and again when this female mosquito will bite a healthy human, that will transfer these sporozoites inside that particular human. So this is how the life cycle of mosquito is going on. Now what's happening inside the mosquito body? So if this is the body of mosquito, when it's sucking blood from that infected human, it will suck the gametocyte stage. Now these gametocytes, upon reaching to the gut, they will convert into sperms and ovum. The mega will be converted into ovum and the micro will be converted into the sperms, and they will form eukinetes which can move. Now this eukinetes will penetrate to the gut wall and that will form oocyst. Now inside that oocyst there will be sporogony, formation of sporozoites will be there. Now when these sporozoites will come out from this oocyst, they will thrive towards the salivary gland, and salivary gland is, that's why we call salivary gland as a reservoir of sporozoites. Now when the mosquito will bite a healthy human with saliva, the sporozoites will be transmitted to new human body. Okay. Now I'll be talking about another protozoan disease, that is amoebiasis, that is also called as amoebic dysentery. This is caused by the protozoa called Entamoeba histolytica. This is basically another endoparasite. Okay. Now let's talk about the mode of transmission of Entamoeba. It's a vector-borne or carrier-borne disease. Houseflies act as mechanical vectors and transmit the parasites from feces to food and water. Okay, see these houseflies, they are roaming here and there. They're sitting on like dirt and stool particles, okay, rotten particles, and they are collecting their food from there because they are saprozoic in nature. Now the same housefly, if they are infecting the food or water whatever we are eating or drinking, then that will transmit this entamoeba inside our digestive system. Okay, and the primary site of infection for this entamoeba histolytica is our large intestine. Primary site of infection is large intestine. So when it enters into our body, it will attack the large intestine, so it will cause constipation, abdominal pain and cramps, because that can affect abdominal muscles. There will be stools with excess mucus and blood clots. See, the name of this protozoa, Entamoeba histolytica. Histology is a study of tissue. Basically, this entamoeba, this is attacking the tissue of large intestine and degrading it, degenerating it, destroying it. So that's why name is lytica, came from the word lysis. It's destroying the intestinal tissue. That's why there will be excess mucus and blood clots will come out along with feces, along with stool. Okay. Ascariasis. Now this is helminth. Now we will be talking about a few helminth disease. Helminth means worm. Ascaris is common roundworm. Belongs to the group Ascalmins. Right. This is so ascariasis. This is caused by common roundworm. Belong to the group Ascalmins. The scientific name of this pathogen is Ascaris. There is also intestinal parasite. It will attack our intestine. Mode of transmission, how it get inside our body, through soil, water and vegetables and fruits if they are contaminated with feces containing eggs of parasites. Okay. Now suppose if the person is infected by Ascaris. Now he went to a grassland for defecation. Went to a grassland for defecation. Now after that suddenly rain came, and that stool particle or fecal matters will get mixed with the surrounding grass or vegetables or soil or water. Now if without cleaning the vegetables properly, if you are consuming them, you will get their eggs into your food, and when the eggs are getting inside your alimentary canal, they will get hatched out, and the larva of Ascaris will come out, and they will penetrate inside your alimentary canal, and from alimentary canal they will thrive throughout your body organs. They will thrive inside your blood, they will attack your liver, they will attack your spleen, even they sometime in severe cases they will attack your eyes. Okay, so let's talk about the symptoms of ascariasis. Internal bleeding will be there, they are penetrating inside your intestinal tissue. There will be muscular pain, if that uh, penetrating inside your muscles, that will cause muscular pain, muscular cramp, fever, even they will attack liver. So there will be anemia, and too much loss of blood through your intestine also can be cause of anemia. There will be blockage of intestinal passage. Too much population of Ascaris will block the intestinal passage. Okay. Another helminth disease caused by filarial worm called filariasis. Also name of the disease is elephantiasis. Okay. Now who is responsible? The pathogen for this particular disease is filarial worm or Wuchereria. Now there are very common species of Wuchereria are Wuchereria bancrofti and Wuchereria malai. Mode of transmission, now they are vector borne disease. How a healthy human will be getting this Wuchereria inside the body? From the bite of female Culex mosquitoes. So female Culex mosquitoes act as their mechanical vector. Okay. Now if Wuchereria they got passage inside your body, what they will do? These filarial worms live into the lymphatic vessels, usually the lower limbs, because in daytime there will be like movement into our upper portion of our body, into our hand, into our, there will be breathing movement into the thoracic region. So comparatively the lower limb region, that is less movable, particularly when we sleep, right? There is less movement into lower limbs, even the genital organs. So these are the sites where they will be residing inside. It causes chronic inflammation of these organs in which they live. Now where they live in, they live for many years, so that's why the symptoms will be chronic symptoms. They live in limbs, genital organs, and inside limbs and genital organs, they will thrive, and they will increase their population, and that will cause deformities of penis, that will cause deformities of testes, deformities of pelvic region, deformities of legs. So sometimes legs will like swell up, and that's why it resemble the leg or the foot of elephant. So another name of the disease is elephantiasis or elephant foot disease. Okay. Now the infectious form, infectious stage of this disease are called microfilaria. Basically microfilaria, they are juveniles of filarial worm. When mosquito, if I am suffering from filariasis, if mosquito is biting me and sucking my blood, so it will get microfilaria or juvenile filarial worm, and that will get infected. And if the same Culeus mosquito is biting another healthy human, then during the time of biting, mosquito bite, that person may get infected by this microfilaria stage. Okay. Now let's talk about some fungal diseases. Name of the disease you can observe here is ringworms. So basically they are not caused by worms or helminths, they are caused by fungus. Okay. Pathogens are microsporum, epidermophyton and trichophyton. So all of them are fungi. Okay. They are seen in groin, in between the toes. Why they will thrive or their growth will be in groin or in between the toes or armpit? Because these regions, they will find moisture there, they will find warmth, and also they will find some nutrition there. There will be secretion of sweat and sebum, right? Mode of transmission, okay, from soil or by using towels, clothes, comb. Soil is reservoir of multiple pathogens. So if you are playing with raw soil and if you are not washing your hands properly, the spores of this fungi will like get inside your body and they will start attacking your skin. Particularly these areas, these hidden areas of our body, they attack pubic region or they may attack any part of your body, but most of the time they will be attacking the hidden parts of our body. Okay. Heat and moisture help fungi to grow. This is the thing, this is the line I was telling, that why they tend to attack more into our groin or armpit region or hidden pubic regions. Now if you are affected by this trichophyton or epidermophyton, what will be the symptoms? You can observe dry and scaly lesions on skin or your nails or your scalp, and that will accompanying intense itching, what we call in Hindi khujli, right? So there will be intense itching into your body, and obviously there will be appearance of coin like structure, coin like ring like structure, okay, with dry scaly lesions. Okay, now let's solve this question. Now the question is telling us which one of the following disease is non-infectious as well as the major cause of death in humans. Okay, so the answer will be cancer. Cancer is a non-infectious disease and major cause of human, and AIDS, that is one of the infectious disease and that can be fatal. Remember, one example of infectious disease, AIDS, that cause death or fatal, that is called fatal disease. And one of the example of non-infectious disease that cause death, that is cancer, and there is also major cause of death. Next, assertion and reason. Balanced diet, personal hygiene and regular exercise are important for maintaining good health. That is absolutely true fact. Now reason is saying health can be maintained only through vaccination and awareness about diseases. No, this is false. There are many ways you can maintain your health. You need to drink clean water, you need to take proper meal, you need to do proper exercise, you need to maintain proper personal hygiene, you need to maintain proper social hygiene, right? Okay, and even the government of or your municipal areas, municipal corporation need to take care of the drainage systems. Like the mosquito breeding grounds or flies breeding ground of dirty drains for flies and mosquitoes, right? So how to clear, how to get rid of them? So that's why government is introducing fishes like guppy and gambusia into the drainage water or sewage water. So basically they are larvivore fishes, remember the name gambusia and guppies. They are introduced in stagnant water bodies or dirty water bodies where there is breeding ground for mosquitoes and flies. So they will feed upon those mosquito larvae and will get rid of them. Okay, so here the answer is clear, the assertion is true, assertion is correct, or A is true and R is false. Okay, next question, Entamoeba histolytica is a parasite of, yes, parasite of large intestine. That's why name as entamoeba. It's attacking the enteron part, and lysing is damaging the wall of enteron or large intestine. That's why entamoeba histolytica. Now we'll talk about immunity.